General public compelled to make rounds of government offices for years for the same work. Development works delayed due to conflict between political leadership and the administration. The final verdict against cricketer Sandeep Lamichhane, who was found guilty of raping a minor, to be announced today, could face up to 10 years in jail. A group of armed men storms into a live television studio in Ecuador and threatened staff. State of emergency declared after a notorious gang leader escapes prison. And Chelsea suffers a shock 1-0 defeat at Middlesbrough in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final. It has been 2 decades since those involved in a project in Baglung frequented the concerned government entity for its documents. The project has yet to be granted approval. This is just a representative case where people who wish to work in the country have been disheartened due to procedural hassle. The government in the fiscal year 2060-61 had decided to construct 828 megawatt Uttar Ganga hydroelectricity project in Gawa of Baglung. Locals and the stakeholders have been frequenting the concerned administration since then to proceed with the construction of the project. The document of the project had been sent to the Ministry of Forest after concluding the environmental impact assessment. This is just a representative case, as a number of such grievances can be witnessed at various government administrations. Lakshmi Prasad Devkota of Raswa has also been frequenting the Ministry of Forest, citing obstruction in development works by the national park. His complaint has also gone unheard. Majority of the service seekers say that the government staff have failed to fulfill their responsibilities, while the minister has remained indifferent towards their issues. Along with Minister Mahatto, Minister for Drinking Water Mahendra Rai Yadav have put the blame on government employees. He said that the Melamchi drinking water could not be brought to Kathmandu after a secretary did not provide his signature in the documents on time. Likewise, Ministry for Physical Infrastructures has said that dozens of files have been forwarded to the Ministry of Finance and Planning Commission for approval have remained stranded. Both the government entities have indulged in blame game, while the public have been at the receiving end. Public works have been affected by the tussle between political leaders and government employees. Ministers in recent time have been pouring grievances regarding lack of support from government staff, while government employees speak of unnecessary pressure from ministers. The delay in making policy-level decisions due to this has been affecting the general public. Lawmaker of Nepali Congress Deepak Khadka had reached the Ministry of Forest after the documents of a hotel that has been constructed in capital's Budanilkantha was not moved forward. Minister for Forest Birendra Mahatto had said that the staff under the ministry had not complied with him, while Secretary Deepak Kumar Kharil said that he would not work against law. This is not the first instance of dispute between minister and government staff. Prior to this, Minister for Federal Affairs and General Administration Amanlal Modi had said that the staff under the ministry had stopped following his directives, did not provide information he demanded, and did not go to places where they were assigned. Likewise, Minister for Tourism Sudan Kirati had demanded clarification from Managing Director of the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal, CAN Pradeep Adhikari, saying that he had not followed his orders. In the fiscal year 2067, then Finance Secretary Rameshwar Khanal resigned from the post after the dispute with then Minister for Finance Bharat Mohan Adhikari intensified. Former Minister for Forest Matrika Yadav had misbehaved by locking former Local Development Officer Dandu Raj Khimire inside a toilet. Former Minister for Tourism Prem Bahadur Ali had verbally abused Managing Director of Nepal Airlines Corporation Yuvraj Adhikari. A similar trend can be witnessed in province as well. Former Minister for Sports of Gandaki Province Rajiv Gurung had assaulted the Information Officer of the Ministry Prakash Ojha. Furthermore, former Minister for Financial Affairs of Madhya Pradesh Bijay Kumar Yadav had slapped Industry Secretary Bidyanath Jha at his office. Meanwhile, the investigation on the fake Bhutanese refugee case has shown collaboration between the two entities on issues of their interest. The public will remain deprived of good governance until the conflict between political leadership and government employees is addressed. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked in several provinces, what's your take on the dispute between political leadership and public officials affecting government services? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
नेता भन्दा बेसी जिम्मा चाहिँ कर्मचारीको थियो यो देशमा
दुवैजना मिलेर पञ्चनी काम मात्रै भइरहेछ यहाँ तर जनताको काम छिटो भन्दा छिटो हुनु पर्छ
गैर जिम्मेवारी कुरा हो आफ्नो कर्तव्यको बोध नहुनु एउटाले अर्कोलाई चाहिँ टाँसो लगाएर पञ्चिने कुरा हो
सरकारले नै चाहिँ त्यो सबै चाहिँ संगठनलाई चाहिँ खारिज गरेर चाहिँ स्वतन्त्र रूपले चाहिँ ब्युरोक्रेट्सहरूलाई चाहिँ काम गर्न दिनुपर्छ
चाहे राजनीतिक पार्टी होस् चाहे कर्मचारी होस् जोसुकै होस् सेवा गर्छु भन्ने मान्छे जनताको सेवक हो त्यो जनताको सेवा चाहिँ
कर्मचारी र जनप्रतिनिधि बीच एकदम नङ र मासुको सम्बन्ध हुनुपर्ने हो
एउटा राज्यको निकायको कर्मचारी र राज्य नै सञ्चालनमा लागिरहेका राजनीतिक दलका जनप्रतिनिधि बीच एउटा समीकरण मिल्नुपर्छ जसले गर्दा राज्यले विकासको फाटो हुन्छ
काम आफ्नो आफ्नो ठाउँबाट गर्दियो भने मलाई लाग्छ द्वन्द्वै हुँदैन
कर्मचारी र नेताहरूको मिलोमतले सबैजना खाए ठीक नभए बेठी
अराजकताको पराकाष्ठा भन्छन् यसले गर्दाखेरि यो काम हुनु अत्यन्तै आवश्यक छ र जनताले दिएको म्यान्डेट विरुद्धमा कर्मचारी पनि जान मिल्दैन र चाहिँ जनप्रतिनिधि पनि जान मिल्दैन
The final verdict against cricketer Sandeep Lamichhane, who was found guilty of raping a minor, will be announced today. A hearing has been scheduled at the Kathmandu District Court today for determining the sentence of Lamichhane. He had been convicted by the single bench of Judge Shishir Raj Thakal on 29th of December last month. According to subsection 3 of section 219 of the Criminal Code 2074, those convicted of raping a minor as well as adults can be sentenced between 7 to 10 years in jail. The victim has filed a rape case against Lamichhane at the Metropolitan Police Circle in Gaushala on 6th of September 2022. The government has decided to resume power supply of industries that had faced the consequence of their refusal in clearing the dues. The meeting of the Council of Ministers yesterday decided to resume the power supply to 24 industries that had failed to pay the outstanding amount to the government. The meeting had directed the Nepal Electricity Authority (NEA) to resume the power supply of these industries. The government has formed a 3-member committee under the leadership of former Justice at the Supreme Court, Girish Chandralal, to probe the ongoing dispute over dues to be paid by a number of factories that had been using dedicated and trunk lines. The probe committee includes 2 joint secretaries, one each from the industry and energy ministries. The NEA had halted the electricity supply of 24 industries which had failed to clear outstanding amount. Inspection on the complaints filed against the candidates for the upcoming National Assembly election is being conducted today. The Election Commission has made preparation to conclude the inspection by tomorrow and publish the final list of candidates. 52 candidacies have been filed for the polls slated for 25th of this month for 19 seats that is going vacant on March later this year. The Election Commission has said that 2 complaints have been registered, one each against candidates from Sudur Pashchim and Karnali provinces. The complaints are against Mao Center's Bishnu Bahadur Bika, who had registered from Karnali province in the Dalit category. The second complaint is against Nepali Congress's Narayan Datta Bhatta, who is standing in the upper house polls from Sudur Pashchim province. The complaint has been filed against CPN Mao Center candidate Bishnu Bika by CPN UML candidate Hikmat Bika, saying that his name is included in the closed list of the House of Representatives. Ram Bomjan alias Little Buddha has been arrested by the Central Investigation Bureau of Nepal Police (CIB). The police personnel of the CIB arrested Bomjan from a house in capital's Budanilkantha. Police have recovered 30 million rupees from Bomjan as well. Bomjan, who had remained in Halkhoria forest in Bara for a long period of time, had been staying at an ashram in Sinduri. The CIB, Koshi Police and Madhesh Police had been searching for him following complaints against a murder of his own followers at the ashram as well as sexual violence. Police had raided his ashram in Sinduli as well as other suspicious places on several occasions in the past to detain Bomjan, who had been absconding for a long time. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: who is responsible for the failure of provinces and local levels in formulating laws? The options are A, provinces and local level themselves, B, federal government, and C, lack of resources and expertise. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. A group of armed men have broken into a live television studio in Ecuador and threatened staff. A live broadcast by station TC in the city of Guayaquil was interrupted on Tuesday by the group, who were wearing hoods and carrying guns. Staff were forced onto the floor before the live feed cut out. A 60-day state of emergency began in Ecuador on Monday after a convicted gang leader vanished from his prison cell. The hooded men were seen leaving the TC studios, with police seen entering the set about 30 minutes after the gunmen first appeared. National police units in Quito and Guayaquil have been deployed to the scene. The country's National Police Force said in an update on X, formerly Twitter, that staff had been evacuated from the studio. It later said several suspects had been arrested. Following the incident, President Daniel Noboa signed an executive order declaring an internal armed conflict and listed several organized crime groups as terrorist organizations and non-state actors. The University of Guayaquil said all academic and administrative activities had been suspended given the social unrest nationwide. At least 7 police officers have been kidnapped by gang members since the state of emergency was declared. Peru's government declared an emergency along its northern border with Ecuador as a surge of violence unfolded, largely blamed on criminal gangs from the neighboring nation. Peruvian Prime Minister Alberto Otarola made the announcement, noting that the emergency declaration would deploy an unspecified number of army troops to support police forces. According to the Prime Minister, Peru's defense and interior ministers will also travel to the border to coordinate operations. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa issued a decree earlier yesterday classifying 22 gangs as terrorist organizations, shortly after armed assailants took over a TV studio during a live broadcast, in the latest example of escalating lawlessness in the country. Israel said it killed the southern Lebanon commander of Hezbollah's aerial unit in an airstrike yesterday, hours after it said he led an attack on an army headquarters base in northern Israel. The Israeli military's chief spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said Ali Hussein Barji had led dozens of drone attacks on Israel, as Israel and Hezbollah have been waging their deadliest hostilities in 17 years. The televised press briefing was overlaid with aerial footage said to show the strike on Barji's vehicle. Hagari said 6 soldiers were killed and 14 wounded in an accidental explosion on Monday as forces were operating to destroy militant infrastructure in Gaza's Al-Bureji neighborhood. The People's Democratic Party won the most seats in Bhutan's parliamentary elections yesterday and will form the new government as residents hope politicians make good on promises to fix the economic crisis in the Himalayan nation. Latest figures from the Bhutan Broadcasting Service, a national broadcaster, showed the PDP had won 30 of the 47 National Assembly seats to return to power, and the Bhutan Tendrel Party had secured 17. It was the country's 4th general election since its transformation from a traditional monarchy to a parliamentary form of government in 2008. The Election Commission of Bhutan will make its final declaration Wednesday. Candidates on Tuesday's ballot represented only the PDP of former Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay and the BTP led by former civil servant Pema Chewang. A primary round of voting in November eliminated 3 other parties, including the ruling centre-left Druk Nyamrup Shogpa party. Bhutan is located between China and India, with both neighbours vying for influence in the landlocked nation of around 800,000 people. The severe economic crisis played a major role in campaigning. According to the World Bank, Bhutan's economy grew at a rate of 1.7% over the past 5 years. With unemployment a chronic problem, an exodus of young people in search of higher education and jobs abroad is undermining the country's economic potential. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. General public compelled to make rounds of government offices for years for the same work. Development works delayed due to conflict between political leadership and the administration. The final verdict against cricketer Sandeep Lamishane, who was found guilty of raping a minor, to be announced today, could face up to 10 years in jail. A group of armed men storms into a live television studio in Ecuador and threatened staff. State of emergency declared after notorious gang leader escaped prison. And Chelsea suffers a shock 1-0 defeat at Middlesbrough in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.